food and non-food items have left the southern Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria in hunger, frustration, and total exploitation by the locals. It is alleged that the hunger and starvation has led to the committing of suicide by some refugees. Young girls are being sexually exploited and forced into prostitution due to the hunger and extreme hardship. The third one, there is inadequate provision of social amenities like water, sanitation, hygiene, and health facilities to the expanding host communities, thereby leaving the refugees into miseries of very poor health. There is lack of basic education for the children and lack of economic empowerment opportunities for the adult refugees who become self-reliant and self-dependent have led to them becoming jobless, thereby leading the refugees into highly dependency and exploitation by the locals. The sixth one, lack of shelter and sheltering materials like mattresses, bed covers, and blankets. Refugees communities undergo days without drinking water due to lack of potable drinking water and extreme bad conditions for the few existing boreholes.
Dr. Emmanuel Tita stated also that last year, 2021, Ambazonians achieved our best ever Refugee Day. Thanks to the collective efforts of the Ambazonian diasporic community, like never before, the Department of Health and Social Services of the interim government reached out to many more prisons across the entire territories of the Americas. We provided relief and sustenance to hospitals, settlements, and camps in Agoja, Adagong, and other communities hosting our refugees in the Cross River State in Nigeria. We engaged refugee boards in different African and European countries, hosting some of our refugees, and also sought assistance and collaborated with external and international humanitarian organizations like UNHCR. We on Undaunted also appreciate the efforts of the following humanitarian organizations who provided tremendous support for us to assist our refugees in Nigeria. We thank Caritas Nigeria, Save the Children, Raman Care, the Red Cross Society, and the Nigerian SEMA and the NCFRMI. We delightfully call upon them to continue providing services to our people. Here are excerpts of the interview with Dr. Emmanuel Tita yesterday.
Fellow Southern Cameroonians, fellow Ambazonians, our dear Southern Cameroonians across the world, this year's World Refugee Day, more than 2 million people of the former British Southern Cameroon's Ambazonians are forcibly displaced from their homes. 500,000 in a country that is not their own. The Department of Health and Social Services of your interim government, on the occasion of World Refugee Day, June 20th, 2022, therefore wishes to join the crusade of recognizing the plight of these oppressed people of the former British Southern Cameroons and the dire need to seek for solutions now. As a result of the diplomatic effort of your interim government and the intervention of the US government, our refugees in the United States of America can now enjoy an immigration facilitative procedure, the Temporary Protective Status, TPS, granted by the Biden's administration. The interim government is aware of the challenges our refugees are faced with in different territories, countries. In neighboring La République du Cameroon, they are not recognized as refugees. Last year, 2021, we achieved our best However, thanks to the collective effort of the Ambazonian diasporic community, like never before, the Department of Health and Social Services of the interim government reached out to many more refugee settlements and communities across Nigeria. We therefore seek this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of the following humanitarian organizations who provided tremendous support to our refugees in Nigeria. In the end, while we wish you a happy Refugee Day 2022, we wish to remind all people of goodwill that the Department of Health and Social Services is still receiving and will appreciate your kind donations in medication, medical equipment, foodstuff, clothing for honest and transparent distribution to all of our refugees. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, short live the struggle, so that our people can finally return to our homeland. Thank you.
All right, of course, Dr. Emmanuel Otita there. To react and to analyze, we have Barrister Timothy Mbesi here, and of course, Mr. Ta and Nijo here to air their thoughts. But I think we should have Barrister Timothy Mbesi here and Nijo first. Good evening, Nijo.
Greetings, Oye and the ladies star. My pleasure to thank you for the invitation. Always at your disposal.
Right, thank you very much. Good evening, Barrister Timothy Mbesi.
Good evening, madam. Good evening, viewers. Thank you for inviting us. I hope something by the end of the day, someone will learn something from our presentations. Thank you very much.
Definitely. All right, Barrister, let's get to hear your thoughts on what you think about the World Refugee Day, and from the videos you watched, if you're excited on how Ambazonians in different parts of the world who are refugees celebrated the World Refugee Day yesterday.
What I gather from there is, first and foremost, there's no pride in being a refugee. Once you're a refugee, you have lost so much as a personality, as a person, as a family, or whatever. But once you've taken that status, you try to make the best use of it. You cannot do it by yourself. So we, who are not refugees, we support them. Yes, they were dancing, they were singing. Probably they had a good meal, maybe once a year, because there's only one refugee day in a year. It only tells us that we don't forget them. Even if it is making only one day brighter in their lives, wherever they find themselves. See, we're lucky to have refugees. It's luck that they're in Nigeria, where they have at least this opportunity to celebrate. What we have in Cameroon, which we call internally displaced, are in fact refugees. But they don't have the opportunity even to demonstrate for drinking water. You did not see anything happening in Cameroon, even by the Central African refugees. So I think we can say thank you. We can say thank you for them and encourage them to take this difficulty as a transition to some enjoyment in the future. And to those of us who made it possible, we'll say thank you and do it as often as it is possible, so that by the time their period ends, we don't know when, they will not have lost everything in their lives as they seem to have done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Timothy Mbesi. It's nice to have you here. And Nijo, good evening. It's nice to have you here as well. In regards to the refugee, we all know yesterday was World Refugee Day. In regards to the Ambazonian refugees in the diaspora, as the Director for Resource Mobilization, is your team putting anything in place to see that they have better, stay in the neighboring country, Nigeria, and everywhere else that they're spread to?
Thank you, Lady Star, and my greetings to Senior Comrade Methas, and of course the rest of your technical team. And before I can say anything, let me pay my homage to our home front fighters and all Ambazonians who have tuned in this evening. You guys are down at the equator. Some of us are at the poles. Today is Summer Solstice Day. It's the longest day we have with daylight. So we're celebrating that. And then we can think about this celebration that happened yesterday on the Refugees Day. And thank you for the question. And you would have thought that when I listened to Dr. Tita, Secretary of State for uh, Health and Social Services, list the organizations that support the Amazonian refugees, and of course, you would have thought that you would hear him mention the UNHCR, which, with all due respect, is the organization that is supposed to be looking and taking care of our refugees, not just those in Nigeria, but from my understanding is these refugees, about half of them are not registered and not recognized where they are. They cannot be tracked, or those who are registered still lack the basic things. And then you have this burden that comes back onto the government, the Ambazonian interim government, a government with no budget, and we depend on our free will donations from our stakeholders, that you have a war that is ongoing. People are being killed on a daily basis, and we have to fight this. We also then have to think and support and budget for our refugees. And we have a TV station like ABC and our TV that we should be spending all our resources to keep it going. We still have to pinch into those little resources and support our refugees. It's sad, but this is the reality that we are in. We as Dr. Tita explained, this was the third occasion that the interim government has sponsored this refugees celebration day in Nigeria particularly. And this year, of course, he mentioned the support that is galvanized, and all the department resource mobilization can do is, this is our draft season. So one of the departments that is on the agenda to be drafted is, of course, the Health and Social Services, HSS, as is known, and we're looking forward to that. And perhaps looking at this as one of our last drafts, if you let me say that, if it still happens that we have to draft next year or sometime in future, we might need of bringing forward the draft session for HSS ahead of this refugee day, so that the government can support HSS more than it has done this year. But as you remember, we spent April and May running national emergency funding, and you can bet your bottom dollar that part of those finances were there to trigger a little bit of support for the HSS. But that said, I think we should be looking at drafting HSS sometime in May next year if we're still in this situation. We hope we don't get to it, but if we have to get to that, that's what I think we should do. Thank you.
It's a good thing we have these humanitarian organizations helping the best way they can our refugees in the diaspora. That's really encouraging. Onyi, would you have anything?
All right, yes, we have Barrister Mbesia here. Please, Barrister, we want to find out, as a legal mind, And as a legal authority, what do you think about the Rwanda and the UK agreement to deport refugees to Rwanda?
I think from the start, let me just give you one word. It was illegal. Then let me explain why. A refugee is somebody under a special status protected by international law. Because when you leave your own country, wherever it is that country, Ukraine, Nigeria, wherever, you don't become a voluntary refugee. The status of a refugee is imposed on the individuals by circumstances beyond their own control. That said, the refugee is not somebody discovered in the ocean who is going nowhere. They are heading for a particular point. If you left Bamenda escaping from war, you will not just enter the streets. You might be heading to Kumba. You might be heading to Manfe. Because at least you know if you go to Kumba, you have a relative, you have a sister, somebody who might help you. Or at the very least, the streets are safe for you. Your destination of choice was. That destination of choice has the legal duty to protect you in another place. What I think the British government was trying to do was manifestly illegal, was discriminative, and without any legal basis. And that is why the European law court said no, it cannot happen. Again, I cannot say they made a mistake because it appears for them they thought that refugees are uh, economic adventurers. Otherwise, why Rwanda? They just thought that if they got there, they'll be farming, they'll be enjoying some industrial work. No, they are not running because of economic. Even if you're an economic refugee, and I don't understand, it doesn't work in the United States, for example, that way. You cannot just leave Cameroon and say, well, I'm unemployed. In Nigeria, no, there's no work there for us. I run away and come to any country and say, I'm looking for refuge. No, maybe you're not employed. Maybe there's for you. But to gain the refugee status, you have to attach your economic reality to something that would protect you politically. You might say that, for example, I'm running away from Bamenda because the city council will not engage me because I'm from I'm running away from Cameroon because I have been taken over by the Francophones, specifically because they are discriminating against me. That's why I have no job. They discriminated against me religiously, culturally, or otherwise. Let me give a very glaring example. For example, in Cameroon, to be a gay man or a lesbian woman is a crime. They discriminate against them. And therefore, if you went for a job and you say, well, I'm a gay guy, nobody will employ you. You become jobless if you not be jailed. So if you were to come out because you have no job and say, well, the jobs are there, but they will not employ me because I'm gay or lesbian, your host country where you have landed will grant you refugee status. Because though being gay or lesbian, you're a human being. You did not choose to be a gay or lesbian, at least by definition of what it is. So you are not, the British government knowingly was discriminating against people for being blacks. Why do they choose Rwanda? Great Britain or the UK is in Europe. Why did they not send them to Germany or to another European country? They chose Rwanda because Rwanda is black. But again, it has been settled because their own court, their own superior court, has said no, that is illegal, that's discriminatory, it is not acceptable. Again, refugee is not seeking for economic sanctuary. You are escaping from something which has to do with your race, which has to do with your religion, which has to do with something political. So you have to distinguish between how do you, a man escaping from Ambazonia, for example, and find yourself in London, and then they export you, you are forcibly exported to Rwanda. That's all your problem. So again, that was illegal, manifestly discriminative. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister. Nijo, yeah, you made mention of helping these refugees once we start drafting. So, but before we get into the drafting, let's watch this video. Please stand by and just watch this video.
Fellow ambassadors, una good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're there for the month of June 2022. We're there for World Draft. Now, the World Draft season. Una camp put in a World Draft money, maybe we'll take a win at the Republic. We thank all people that don't contribute from Manu County. One, appreciate them. One, appreciate Mr. Fidelis, Pa Manfe, Pa Jacob, Mark Comfort, Anonymous, Mark, Mr. Oben, Ma Sarah, one thank una, Barrister Flores, Madi, one thank una. For contribute from Manu County, don't forget for call your number. Phone number 8, that's +1 832 7 5 4 4 2 4 0. Yes, ambassador, una call, una count, una pull money for World Draft. With the thank una, fellow ambassadors, make a phone call to your account with your LGA to put your money for the World Draft. The draft is going on. Put your money so we can win our Republic. Thank you. Let me see you. See you. Let me see you. Let me see you. Let me see you. Put your money. Thank you. Stay blessed. God bless you.
From the video you just watched, you could see the allegory of the idea of draft, or at least that's what I can understand. Pushing buttons until you win, paying in your draft entirely. Nijo, I believe we still have you here to talk about the whole drafting this season.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Let me catch my breath from that action from Comrade Willie. Ladies, I'm going to be a bit stubborn here and derail your drafting thing. We have watched enough draft from Comrade Willie, so let us. I need to make an input regarding the refugees and the Rwanda issue that the senior comrade has brought on. I think, and I suggest you guys take a drink. One of the things ABC gives us as a government is look at issues as if you were in seat to make some decisions. I'm going for once differ with senior comrade Mesa. I know he's got a legal mind, but sometimes the legality, the common sense takes over legality. I need who were born before 1972 would probably understand this. And ladies, not putting you on the seat, but I think you look much younger than you would have been born around 72. But one of the theories in life is what goes around comes around. Okay, just note that, and I'm going to base my discussion on that. In 1972, where I'm talking about 1972, Uganda has a president, Idi Amin, and he was lured into power by the UK government, and the prime minister then was, I think, Edward Heath. And Idi Amin, for those of you who know, he had been dancing to the tune of the UK all along. But when he came to a point, I think August, October or so, he sort of embarrassed them because they had In Uganda at the time, they had a lot of Asians. If you know the African map and of Asia, there are a lot of trade that could leave Asia and just hang over in Africa. And they were called at the time Uganda. And Idi Amin woke up on August morning and said all of them should pack and leave Uganda. Embarrassed the UK. And the UK opened their borders to all Asians who were in Uganda at that time. And so all of them migrated from Uganda to the UK, had settlement, and they're now British. Now, that was what was around then. And what is coming around now? The Home Secretary of the UK government is an immigrant. She's an offspring of those Ugandans, those Asians. And so what she's doing, she's literally just paying back the cards. Okay, there were Africans who were brought to the UK in 1972, and so now she's sending people who are coming to the UK to Rwanda. I don't see what is wrong with that. If we could accept, if the world could accept that Ugandans, because they were then as Ugandans, they were black Asians or black Africans being moved over to the UK, nobody made a meal of it. Now the UK is saying, okay, when you come to apply for refugee status in the UK, you are looked into with your legal mind, as senior barrister would say. For those who don't have documents, if you are a genuine refugee, you should present your documents and say that I'm being persecuted from this country. And for those who arrive genuinely, they accept it. Please don't get this wrong. And for once, I'll agree with the UK government. And I'm just having this as a debate in case for some reason Ambazonia comes live and Niger has the opportunity to make such decisions. The thing is, if you are seeking asylum or a refugee status in the UK and you come into the sea and you dump your documents from persecution, where is the proof? Okay, senior barrister said a refugee is not an economic migrant. I think that those people who have fallen through the filter, the sifter that the UK government has put for all refugees and filtered those ones out, those who arrive here on boats